You want to do it?
I mean, I could do it. I heard it twice.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome, everyone, to the 8th episode of...
The Young Pro Podcast.
That's right. Today, his...
co-host, well, sadly...
here. He's actually with his wife on vacation, but he's got T.Milton here from Asset Entities A Estate, as well as the Waddle Brothers, who just put under their first fix and flip under contract, and we came up here to do a walkthrough with all of Ethan's experience and all of my experience to make sure it was a good deal, and we've given them the thumbs up. Have we not?
Yes, we have.
It's a great deal. It's a 70% or rate of return deal. 80%.
Fantastic.
Okay.
That was really good.
Yeah, thank you. With that said, we're going to start with Ethan asking me a bunch of questions about real estate.
That was actually good. I'm glad you did that introduction for me. I had messed it up so many times.
Takes the pressure off.
It does take the pressure off me. So I kind of want to start, again, this isn't necessarily a real estate podcast. Thankfully, I'm glad to be joined by guys that are in real estate. But I do kind of want to just hear your story. That's kind of how we just start out. And I know everyone's like entrepreneurial journey starts differently, and I'd really kind of just like to dive into that and kind of lead up, to how we met each other and why I want to spend so much time with you.
Okay, so my dad moved from Philadelphia and got in the concrete business in Dallas, Texas. He built his first apartment complex when I was 12, so I would visit the project all the time. It's actually in a town called Greenville, Texas, which just coincidentally, you always go full circle. I'm working with the city to redevelop the entire downtown into a historic district. When I was 14, and I was a sophomore in high school, I was in Distributed Education Clubs of America, and me and 4 friends of mine leased a Phoenix gas station. And this was during the Jimmy Carter presidency, when gas prices, just like we've seen them now, went through the roof.
What year is this?
This was in 1978 and 79.
And you were
Leasing
14 or 16, 17 years old.
14 years old. 14. I was one of the younger people in my class. I graduated when I was 17. And 5 of us leased a Phoenix gas station. It was kind of interesting. We had to put a green flag out when we had gas, and people would line up all the way down Hampton Road, which is where we always used to drive and party and do what kids do at that age. We put a yellow flag out when we're almost out of gas, and a red flag out when we were out of gas. So we literally would get our gas in and sell it. Now back then it was like $2.25 to $2.50 a gallon, which today we look at it and we say, yeah, whatever, but it was because of what Jimmy Carter did with the oil. And I had an opportunity to own a gas station, and we did really, really well. We were a full service station. I actually got a ticket, believe it or not, driving without a driver's license. And when I went in front of the judge said, "Oh, you're the kid that owns the gas station." I said, well, "Judge, we lease it." And he said, "Well, I've decided that I'm going to give you community service. I want you to have a car wash at the gas station and wash all the police cars and all the fire trucks, and that's going to be your penalty. And I'm not going to give you a ticket or a fine for driving without a driver's license." Well, my friend Mark McDaniel came up with a great idea. He said, "Let's have the cheerleaders and the drill team have a car wash on the same day. That way they can wash all the cars." So that's what we did. So we got out of washing cars. We eventually wanted to know.
Wait, no, yes, I want to know.
We got out of it.
Okay. So at 14, that was your entrepreneurial experience to get in.
Project. That was my first entrepreneurial experience, other than just basically mowing lawns and going to my.
And this is in Texas.
This is in Texas.
Okay.
78, 79.
Okay, and then let's get into like college-ish and where that kind of
We'll skip ahead. I did work as a clerk for a law firm, but also worked for a real estate assemblage company when I was a senior. In high school, and I learned how to assemble property, land primarily for residential development. So I went to SMU. I decided to basically have an emphasis in real estate, is what they called it. And out of college, I was a real estate appraiser, commercial real estate appraiser.
Had you started investing at all yet?
Yes. Yeah, the first house I ever bought was when I was 17. and I bought it in Wilbur Hutchins, and I bought it for $25,000, and did a little bit of work to it myself with the help of my friends, and we rented it. We actually rented it, believe it or not, we rented it through Section 8 because Wilbur Hutchins was a distressed area. And back then, Section 8 was the only true affordable housing incentive to be a affordable housing landlord. There's tons of them now. You can build houses and sell them to people, you know, that only make $30,000 a year. But that was my first house. And after that, I became a real estate appraiser. I got my broker's license. I was a real estate appraiser for 5 years. And I was a real estate appraiser through the 1980s. You guys remember what happened in the 80s, right?
No, I was not. I'm 92.
Okay.
I think they're 2000. I'm just gonna throw that out there. What year are you born?
So,
You are okay. 01. All right. Yeah. These.
one of those questions you had down there was, what was your biggest?
What's your biggest advice you can give
No, your biggest, the one above that.
biggest accomplishment you've made?
No, above that.
What biggest struggles you've encountered?
The biggest struggle that I ever encountered in real estate was the 1980s real estate crash. It's when Congress deregulated the savings and loan industry to where savings and loans could lend on commercial properties. Congressman St. Germain, Tip O'Neill, Jim Wright, all the Democrats came with this great idea how they were going to deregulate savings and loans so they could go out and lend money. So in the 80s, from 83 to 88, prices went up at the highest level you've ever seen. Savings and loans were making loans not just on one property to one person, but making 5 loans on the same property. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on because the savings and loans could all of a sudden lend commercially instead of on residential.
Okay.
So I saw the real estate crash, not subprime mortgage, but the true crash of the real estate market in the late 80s.
Okay, real quick. I pride myself on having a very vast real estate vocabulary. It's very rare I run into people that use vocabulary with real estate that's outside of my comfort zone. You, however, are one of those people. Even I struggle sometimes. Could you just regurgitate in a more elementary level of what you just said about the banks and just, I know it's hard. Could you just try it one more time and make it just a little bit simpler?
Okay, so in the 80s, here's what happened. Savings and loans were capitalized with millions and millions of dollars in conjunction with the federal government. The federal government wanted real estate investors to invest in savings and loans because they wanted to increase the availability of lending, not just for a single family home on a 30-year FHA HUD mortgage,
but for commercial.
Well, there weren't enough banks to do it, so they said let the savings and loans do it. Much like they deregulated the phone business, long distance was deregulated. Electricity's been deregulated. Enron, they deregulated electricity so other people could sell
electricity. Yeah, okay.
The banks had a monopoly.
Therefore, the market determines what the value is.
And the more money that's out there.
Hey, am I the only one, bro?
The more money that was out there, the more people could go out and get development loans. And it was just like subprime mortgage. They weren't really checking the credit like they should have been. They weren't qualifying people during subprime mortgage. Well, imagine them not qualifying somebody that wanted to develop 1,000 acres, into 3,000 lots. So all of this lending went on and people were appraising properties at higher and higher and higher and higher levels until all of a sudden, all the savings and loans went insolvent. And the FSLIC at the time, which is the Federal Savings and Loan Commission, started to shut them all down, take them all away, and you probably heard of mark to market. They marked to market all that real estate that was worth, for example, $50 a square foot was marked to $1 a square foot. So
and this is all of the
all through the 80s until 1990, 91, we had a worse real estate crash than subprime mortgage by at least 5 times as bad. Real estate on property.
Okay, let's skip now to, okay, so let's skip to '08 then. So we've just skipped 15 to 8, yeah.
We've only got 45 minutes on this podcast. So everybody bought up everything. If you had,
This is '08 now.
no, this is 1991. If anybody had money in the 90s, from 1991 to 2000, people were buying everything that they could because it was bargain basement prices. The housing market finally started coming back in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. And as you know, we saw the highest average income per house, median value per house in 2005 and 2006. And we saw more development and more home sales than we'd ever seen, ever, in the history of the United States. In 2006, the builders realized, we're not selling as many houses. Of course, Wall Street knew that in 2006, i.e. watched the show The Big Short, the movie.
Great movie,
All of a
fantastic.
sudden, in 2008, we've got like 200 lot developments in Cedar Hill, Texas, and DeSoto. 2008, all of a sudden, all the builders want to cancel their contracts and give us the earnest money. You know, we thought, no, we don't want your earnest money. We want you to keep building. But it didn't happen. AIG went under. All the major banks, Lehman Brothers went under. You guys know what happened. And in 2009, it just got worse and got worse and got worse. And then, Ethan, you should know, because you've now been doing this for 8 years, you came in.
2016, yeah.
Ethan came in and started buying stuff 2 or 3 years after the 2009 to 2013, during the Obama, administrations. I mean, it was a disaster. People lost so much money in the stock market. So many homes got foreclosed.
What were you doing in that time frame? Were you buying like pretty crazy as well?
I was working for my family business until about 2010, and was trying to salvage my family's assets, helping my dad. And I finally got to the point where I said, I need to do something else. And then I luckily ran into a guy named Jeff Carey, who's specialized in what's called public-private finance. And I went down and started working with him shortly after Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
And learned public-private finance, which
Okay.
is how to use state, federal, local incentives, 380 grants, to subsidize your infrastructure development as well as any improvements you
Okay.
make to your properties. So I kind of knew I developed retail from 1992 to 2002. I managed and leased about 1 million square feet of retail. With a partner of mine, built a couple retail shopping centers. But then in 2010 is when I decided it's about time for me to go out on my own, and that's when I discovered public-private finance and how to use incentives to develop real estate.
Okay. All right. So now let's get to COVID.
Okay.
How did you meet asset entities? Is that pre-COVID or during COVID?
It's kind of interesting. I met the love of my life, and in 2018.
Carla. Shout out to Carla.
Hey, Carla. Hey, Carla. We bought the Pratt Pullman train yards in Atlanta with a movie producer friend of mine, Adam Rosenfeld, and his wife from the Property Commission for nothing. Bad Boys was filmed there. It was where Hunger Games was filmed. And I felt like that project was a life project, so I retired. We moved to North Carolina in 2018, and I left Dallas and had no plans to go back. But all of a sudden, when COVID hit, all my clients that were developing, subdivisions and retail projects.
But you were retired, correct? I don't want to. Yes, you're out of the
I
game.
was not doing one project. I was done.
So COVID happens.
Made money doing the historic,
Yeah,
historic
like you
buildings.
said. Yep.
And met Carla, and we moved. We decided not to live in Vegas, lived in Dallas, and moved to North Carolina. And I always wanted to go back to the East Coast, and it's out in the country on 2 golf courses, which was great for me. So I started getting calls in March of 2020, April 2020, all my clients freaking out, thinking they wouldn't be able to sell houses, they wouldn't be able to get money from banks to finish the streets and the roads of the next phases. So I signed up a bunch of clients and started going back to work. Little did we know the effect that COVID had on the residential market. They had no problem selling houses, but I still made the money, so what the hell difference did it make? I did a lot less work for a lot more money. But in September of 2021, I met Kyle Fairbanks, Jackson Fairbanks, and Derek Dunlop, who worked with my brother. We all met for dinner, and they were doing stock and crypto.
With sponsor or kind of marketing through TikTok, right?
Through TikTok,
Yep.
marketing through TikTok, but running the platforms on Discord.
Okay.
You know, they had like maybe 100,000 members on the stock Discord and maybe 10,000 on the crypto Discord. But Kyle Fairbanks, who was working on getting his real estate license in Humboldt, California, and Jackson too was in college, and the 2 other brothers, Armand and Arshia, who are from San Diego, they had started setting up Discords, managing Discords for people, but they had generated a substantial amount of
money, yeah.
through Discord.
And they were managing quite a bit of money for his
And they were managing quite a bit of money, actually. They were probably generating several $100,000 a month just in monthly fees.
and subscriptions.
And subscriptions.
Through the Discord.
Through the stock and crypto, and the crypto Discord. And I followed it for a little bit, and I traded crypto, but not much. And Kyle, the first day I met him, he looked over to me and he said, "Your brother told me you've been doing real estate for almost 40 years. You've been doing it since you were 15. There are a lot of people on our Discord, both crypto and stock, that have made a lot of money, that are 15, 16, 17, that don't think they can do real estate." I started wholesaling right when I decided to get out of California, and I wanted to do a real estate Discord. And I didn't know what Discord was. And I thought to myself, this kid's crazy. He's 23 years old. His brother's 20. And yeah, they're doing this, but a real estate Discord, education Discord, a network of buyers, sellers, investors, wholesalers, it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. I decided to buy into it because he's very convincing, and they have about 4 billion TikTok views and probably millions and millions of followers amongst the group. So I figured, that's better than me. So I said, let's do it. So we worked literally for almost a year before we launched it in April, end of April, and now we have over 60,000 members of the agency.
On that note,
Ethan is also an owner. Kyle found Ethan with his 250,000 followers, with these little TikToks, sanding the floors and with it, and I thought to myself, wow, you can really tell a story, to somebody. And then the crypto market started to crash, and then the stock market started to crash, so it was the perfect timing for A State.
And I want to
came on board.
I am too, and I want to get more into our story, but I also now I think that's a great lead into the Waddle Boys and how it works. Yeah, and so I don't want to give too much of Tavian, 21. Taylor is 24. They already have a deal under contract, and the reason that t.milton is out here is to kind of walk through a property with them. So I kind of just want to give them a chance, each of them, to kind of tell maybe how they encountered asset entities initially and like what their experience has been so far, especially for meeting both of us now. You've met me twice, and he's a lot to hand everyone. He's amazing. But after we got to spend a whole day together, kind of what that looks like for you guys.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. So I guess it started. It was May 3rd, so not that long ago. I was bartending, and I called him up. I woke up. I was like, "What would you do if I just quit my job right now?" It's kind of crazy.
I said, "Dude, you're fucking crazy. I was like, no way.
But,
Because at the time I was jobless too, so.
yeah, it was just, you know, kind of weird. But after, you know, we had a conversation, I was like, I'm just going to do it, did it. And then right after that, I think that same day, I got on the asset entities call, like the first live call that they had. I was like,
So this is a free call.
free call. And there was like 7 people in the call.
And it was after he saw a Kyle Fairbanks TikTok.
Yeah, I saw Kyle Fairbanks. I knew Kyle Fairbanks' name. I don't remember how I followed the Discord or how I got the notification. I think I followed Kyle on.
So this is a stock one.
No.
It's a no.
This is just,
This was asset.
yeah.
This is asset entities.
Kyle
They're-
did some TikTok.
Okay.
But I remembered his name from the water bottle flipping videos.
Oh, you did do those, Kyle. Oh my gosh.
They patented the bottle.
I swear they're doing wild with
In
that.
the air hanger when we took the jet.
Oh, with the jet, it was so cool.
And I said, dude, there's no way. Bam.
No.
What the?
Yeah. All right, so continue.
Yeah, so I remember that. So
So you joined the live call.
I joined the live call. I was in the gym, and I was supposed to be working at my job, but I quit the same day, and so I wouldn't have even had the opportunity.
So you quit your job before you even heard
Before.
the live.
Oh
Bruh.
yeah, that's what's crazy. We were actually thinking about drop shipping books.
Yeah, that's what we were gonna do. I
We're
was
gonna
like,
drop ship books.
this is not.
Would y'all lean in real quick? I just want to make sure that we're getting your story and everything. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a real estate background. You know, I got my license in Colorado. I never really used it. I moved back to be with family, and so that was, you know, I knew kind of about wholesaling. I knew what it was. I knew the whole.
Okay, so
process.
what was the first call? What was it? Was it over wholesaling or what was the?
It's like a setting up the Discord sort of what like.
So it wasn't launched yet. He was just putting the idea out
Yeah,
there.
it wasn't. We were.
Oh my
on.
They
gosh.
were literally,
Early
probably
Yeah, early OG.
probably had to be in the first 20 people. Now you have to understand, you know, the first 20 people,
Of a 60,000 member
signed up.
group. Yeah.
they all signed up.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the free chat anymore. Because
We don't. We got rid of that. Yeah.
Because we just, you know, we're not going to give, you know, stuff that people charge $5,000 for. I mean, there's people that charge $5,000, $500.
10,000. All sort of
these
5.
guys,
Yeah.
Section 8 guy and
Yeah.
everything. So we wanted to make sure that they became part of the community because the value in us doing this isn't Kyle, isn't Jackson, isn't me, isn't Keaton, isn't, you know,
It's
Reed,
everyone coming
you.
together.
It's
Yeah.
not Adam, it's everybody teaming, getting on teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And working together and learning from each other because there's not enough of us to go around the 61,000
Thousand people.
And we haven't even started really marketing it through TikTok since then. Because we wanted to make sure
That the people we
everybody was
had,
taken
yeah.
care of and trained. So when other people come in, I can get on a call like I did with Taylor and Natty T. You just signed up in Vegas for VIP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to sound like a rat, but it did. He was on a phone call of his time for an hour and 15 minutes explaining to Natasha, who signed up for a course before COVID for $500, why this was worth $60 a month to do this.
Yeah.
And when you get people like these guys that don't mind sharing their secrets, you know, such as he handwrites letters to these people and he develops relationships with them. And, you know, so I see these guys being a big part of AE. So these guys come on really early, but it doesn't happen overnight.
No, and that's-
How long did it
it's-
take for you to do it? How long did it take you for you to close your first deal? Because we have these people that get impatient. How long? How much work?
2 years.
2 years.
I started studying real estate at the end of 20, right before I turned 21. I didn't close my first deal until I was 23. These guys said you started in what? April?
Well, I started learning like
Right.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Because you got your license. Yeah, you got some time. All
But
right.
with the AE Discord
Yeah.
platform, the
How much did
education
that like
and-
excel? How much do you think that like helped? I guess in the sense of just like hearing people. I don't know. When I got on, I was trying to talk about deals that I was doing or being more relatable. Because sometimes when you hear people talking about millions of dollars, it's harder to relate or be like, I'm not even, my market has houses for $100,000. How am I supposed to start considering? You guys are talking about millions. I'm talking about 1K, K. It's just different. I guess. What was your biggest takeaway besides of the community or?
That's a hard one. I literally joined because of the community. I knew the power of it. I was like, I wanted us to surround ourselves with people like you guys.
Doing that.
That was the biggest thing. I had the knowledge, but I was like, I told him because we were within the first 25. He's like, I'm teaching him everything that I know through this, but there were 25 slots open to start during the first 2 weeks.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yes.
So hard to get him
There
to
are only
sign up. I was like,
25.
you have to do this.
You got yours though.
I got mine, and then I was like, you need to sign up.
Did you get your first 25?
Yeah.
You did.
He was in the first 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was like,
I
Whoa.
don't do that. I'm so skeptical with stuff like that, but
Yeah.
somehow he convinced me, and I don't regret it a single bit.
That's awesome.
It's been insane.
But yeah, that's why. But I just needed the opportunity that it was be in the Discord surrounded by people that have so much knowledge or be on your own.
Okay, so I guess he's already had some knowledge. Like, how do you have you watched a lot of the education, or like, are you what side of the business, I guess, are you focusing on? If you two are a team, teams require different skills. Like, where are you at? What?
Team Waddle.
Team Waddle.
Yeah.
I like that.
Team Waddle.
Yeah, the Waddle boys. The Waddle boys.
Water comp-
Where are
Waddle
you
company.
at in
Okay,
that?
so I like to refer to him when I'm talking to sellers or investors. He's pretty much like my acquisitions manager.
He is?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the brains of it, and I kind of just portray what he's trying to say to the people that we want to say it to. So I make the first interaction with the sellers, I make the first interaction with the investors, and then I kind of communicate back and forth with Taylor as to what he has to say, and then I go in with my people skills, and we portray that into, like, it's kind of, we talk about it all the time, it's really cool what we do. Like, nothing we do is really just one of us. Like, we never really make a decision. Like, it's kind of an unfair advantage that we're brothers. Like, we just bounce back and forth off fucking everything, no matter
Sure.
what happens. Like,
That's great.
there's multiple heads on what we do. And coming into this not knowing anything, like $60 a month might sound like a lot, but if you just surround yourself with just people talking about real estate, even if you don't know what any of it means, at some point you'll start to catch on, and at some point you'll start to catch interest in what they're saying, and then from that point on it kind of just takes off, because real estate's so lucrative. I mean, you can't really stop learning. There's so much knowledge about real estate out there that you won't stop.
Phenomenal, dude. And that's why I said it earlier. Like, there's very few times I enter in a conversation that's real estate related and the vocabulary that's being used is like out of my comfort zone. That's a big, to circle back to that, that's a big reason why I came after asset entities. It wasn't that, like, Kyle is amazing and he's a mastermind. He truly is. But when it came to real estate, I had just been in the game and done a lot of deals, and I knew I was communicating with real estate and things that he hadn't experienced yet. But when I came to Tommy, and Tommy believed in him and saw the same things that I was like already seeing in my head, I was like, we all have different skills. And so it's like you can have that marketing madness, geniusness that Kyle really has, and then there's so many levels to this shit, to be honest, and it's like, that is why Tommy is a big reason, like, why I want to hang around, because like I know when you gravitate or spend time with people that have been in the game or have done it longer, you just pick it up. It's not, you can only read or watch so many YouTube videos. You can, but getting in the game like you guys are doing right now, that's like it's a life. I got like goosebumps about it and stuff. And Tommy was getting hype about it.
Yeah, it was funny, but Taylor asked me to find a file, and I just looked at our emails, and I really started to communicate with him and help him come up with this creative finance way
Strategy, yeah.
to close on this deal. And he can tell you that probably, I thought by the end of the time we close this deal, we know every attorney in Idaho and every California.
Iowa. You say, yeah, where we at?
Iowa. Well, I lived in Idaho for a while, but in Iowa, before we would find an attorney that would, agree to close the way we wanted to, just because of the state of wholesalers and how wholesalers are looked at. some states like Pennsylvania are having to get a wholesaler license now. But in talking to him, I said, well, how do you keep track of all this stuff? I mean, how do you know the person that said, I don't know what I want to sell it for, or I'm not ready now, but maybe I'll sell in 6 months? Well, that's when I find, I've never even seen a picture or even talked to Tavian until this trip. Tavian is that part of the team who keeps all the ducks in a row. I'm just not to do a pun about waddling ducks.
Penguins.
The Waddle Brothers. I was thinking of the
Grease, yeah. I got it right though, right? Okay,
But
waddle.
it was great to know that you have all the backup and all the referencing that you have to go to, because it's the deal that you looked at kind of half-ass and you really, they want to sell but not now, but there's another deal. You don't write that one down and put a note on there that says call in 6 months. That could be the biggest profit you make.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So y'all make a great team in that way. I'm more like you. He's more of a detail-oriented kind of person. He's more of a detail-oriented person. That's why I like working and investing and partnering up with Ethan. I think I know about the construction business and I act like I know what trusts are and this, but I was always a deal maker. My dad wanted me to learn the construction business. I didn't. So I didn't do it. So I surround people that are organized, that are, calculating, and that are conservative, and that know the things that I don't. You know me, I'm a deal maker. I go out and cut the deal, best deal I can. But that's really all I'm good for. But I do close deals, and that's important.
That is very, very, very important. Very important.
But it's an amazing what I've seen these guys do.
And that's what it's like. It's motivating when you see younger people, and it's like, if I had started at this age, oh my gosh.
These guys get to start at this age.
I know, but just so from 23 to 26, I did 3 deals. One deal every about 10-ish months is what I was averaging. But like you guys, it's just, had I known what I know now, and now it's ridiculous. I even just said recently I was going to slow down acquisitions, and now here we are trying to do something with you guys, and it's like, man, I can't slow down.
All the people that I've mentioned and introduced to you, Sydney from Newark, Natasha, Natty T from Vegas, Brooklyn, who just closed her first deal from Dallas, Alicia just moved to Dallas from Seattle. She's, they all, are mailing out letters and calling, and they get frustrated. I want you to tell them.
Took me 2 years. Yeah.
How it literally, you've been working on this one deal for what, 2 months?
About
While also chasing other deals. Because you didn't know, exactly.
They're about to
Yeah.
flip one that had a fire in it.
Yeah.
They're buying for $40,000. They got a guy already offering $50,000.
Yeah. Is that real?
Yeah,
He's supposed to
it's
call me
real.
tomorrow.
You missed out on it, dude. I tried to.
I thought you were saying something about that, and I wasn't
Focus
like.
on it. Dude, it's good. You don't want to do it. We don't want to.
Well, I promised to
They
slow
would
down.
have brought it to us first.
There you go. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I think with the lead thing, I think it's so important, like with the team members, because we're looking at building a team. We have several people that we're talking about bringing on, because when we bring people on, we'll just get more deals done faster. But having him be the lead manager and manage all of that and a lot of the communication.
And then hand it off to the.
Oh, this is a good question. So we've all had family businesses. How? And I know I've had difficulties with my families. Like sometimes the fights are horrendous or whatever. Like how does that look when you guys are having issues with one another? Maybe there's other brothers or sisters or friends. It's very similar if you're like close homies as well. So like, how do you constructively criticize each other to get the person back in the game?
I mean, that's hard. That's the hardest thing
It's
so
very
far. Before this, we didn't talk for like 3 or 4 years.
Which
we
that'll
hated
bring
each
us
other.
into.
Yeah, we did not speak.
You're kidding
We would get in
No.
fights. It was bad. But that he actually got the car accident he was in. I went to the hospital. Sorry.
No, you're good.
It kind of brought us back together, and I don't know. It's been kind of we just grew. We just keep growing.
Okay, so now has there, again, super sorry to hear about that. Has there been issues that have arisen? I know that was a difficult situation arising from that. It gives you a lot of like personal power to like kind of look past the shit that doesn't really matter.
That's exactly.
And that's I can see I can see in your eyes. So, but has there been an issues since then that you feel like had to be addressed, and then kind of what was your approach to taking it so that it went over well?
So I guess what was our big issue? We had one.
Communication.
Yeah, communicating.
And what aspect?
Yeah, what happened?
It
We had a
was-
long talk.
Yeah, it was one afternoon. I was supposed to be cold calling, and I told Taylor I was gonna cold call, and I'm kind of calling myself out here, but I didn't cold call. And he got on my ass about it, and I didn't really like it, and that was the biggest spat that we had pretty much. I mean, he went about it pretty good. I didn't. I guess.
So he approached it well, and you responded poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, like,
Yeah.
and how long did it take you to realize you responded poorly?
I mean, I was at his house within 2 hours. It was like it didn't happen.
Yeah, we went back to work. I think we started cold.
That's
calling.
amazing, guys. Seriously, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys can be like, my little sister works with me too, and like, there's like it's a weird dynamic, like. It's hard to be, and I'm not saying this is the dynamic, but this is the dynamic in my situation is like I would be the boss, and that's a really hard dynamic when you're, and even with my parents, like, and I like, and it's a whole different aspect, but like when, Elise hasn't taken as much time to study. Mom and dad are on the decline of wanting to move as fast as they should be because they've worked there. My dad fought for the country for 32 years. Mom cleaned. Yeah. Slow down. But like, I also know they haven't prepared themselves as well as Tommy has to have that retirement that I believe that they deserve. And so if I'm the one with the reins, I'm the one reading, I'm the one going, I'm the one spending time late at night gambling with Tommy to also pick his brain. Like, no one's gonna fucking tell me how to move this ship. And sometimes that's a really hard dynamic to take when your dad's your dad and your little sister doesn't want to call her older brother her boss.
Yeah.
So like, not saying that's your dynamic at all, but like, how did you craft going into that conversation to hopefully have the best outcome?
I mean, so I've been in management positions. I've been put in them at every job I've had. So I kind of through that, I learned how to communicate to people, and I really was just trying to I didn't get mad. I didn't raise my voice really. I just needed him to know that I was just there to help him. That's it. I don't care about that situation. I needed him to see the outcome of that event, whether you do it or not, the cold calling. And I just went about it as easily and slowly as I could. I kind of had to be abrupt a little bit though.
I get that, and I kind of want to go into Tommy now, but I know what's really helped with my family, and it's hard because we're more of on the emotional side as a family rather than just like. I can be extremely upset with you in a business position with how you're performing or whatever you're doing, and have it literally not affect. Yeah. Our relationship as a family. And like, I know Tommy does a ton of work with his brothers and family, so I guess I'd kind of like to ask how you've navigated that, or if your family's good at that as well, because it has caused some huge blowouts in my family.
Well, you're a different situation. You are in a position, you've been thrown into a position with what happened to your sister Eden to be the patriarch of the family. Because I think your dad is still going through things, and so really, and your mother's been really strong through the loss, but you've been thrown into a position to have to be the leader, the patriarch of the family, and a lot of times, just like a king, people sometimes get irritated with the people that person that's on the throne. So you just got to be a little bit more, sensitive. To your sister.
Yeah.
Why can't the tenant that wanted to call me today call you? since you're the manager, you follow me? That came up today.
Yeah.
You say, look, if you're going to do this, you've got to do it all the way. You've got to, write down. You got to have a list of all the tenants. You got to know what's going on. You have to make it and organize it in a fashion that you can handle it. And then if you need me, call me. All right. My brother and I work really well that way.
Is he the attorney?
Yes. I only have one brother.
Okay. And one sister?
No sisters.
No sisters.
I have one brother.
Okay.
That's it.
But then you did a ton of work with your dad along the way.
All my life, I was going to be the attorney. I was going to run for state senate, be in politics. And my dad said, you're the oldest, you need to take over the real estate business. So that's what I did. I was a commercial real estate appraiser to get that experience, got my license. Worked with the family business pretty much from 1991 on and off until 2010. Probably quit, went and quit, went out on my own probably 4 times. I had kind of a situation with my dad where, I could never do anything the way he wanted me to do it or as good as he could.
Okay.
And so I would get in that situation where I was trying to please everybody. Had conflicts with people that he hired in the past. But I think all in all, because of my dad is why I know so much about real estate. And he worked with some of the big guys, Ike Jacobs from Fox and Jacobs, John Stemmons, the Stemmons Freeway is named after, Carpenter, who developed Las Colinas, which is in Irving. It's a big development where they had Eagle Ford shale soils, and he worked with a group of engineers to try to figure out how to build on it without it sinking into the ground because of the soils. So he worked with a lot of old school guys. He's one of the last of the dinosaurs. He's 82. And the older he got, the harder it was for me to work with him because his hearing and all that stuff. But I still work with him as a private consultant on all of his public improvement districts and that. So I don't work directly for my family business, but I help them develop. Their subdivision using public money, public-private partnerships is what they call it. And so I would say that, my Italian side of the family, also in real estate, 4th generation real estate family in Northeast Philly, just recently sold all the properties my grandfather built in the 60s and 70s.
Was that an unanimous decision?
An unanimous decision.
That didn't create any difficulties?
My cousin Joey kind of wanted to continue on because my Uncle Joe died of pancreatic cancer.
Okay.
Right before the Eagles won the Super Bowl, go Eagles, and he had season tickets, but he never got to see him win in person. But Joey kind of wanted to continue it, but it had gotten to the point where it's time to sell, and everybody else wanted to go do other things. So the 5th generation real estate family in Pennsylvania is gone. That's my mother's side of the family. So, but obviously, our family would be in real estate. My brother knows real estate, even though he's a commercial litigation attorney.
Have you guys had any? You said you worked really well together. Has there been beefs between
my brother and I,
business?
We've always worked well together, but there's been 4 or 5 years of our lives that we didn't talk to each other.
As an attorney, and you being a serial entrepreneur, he's had to have had some hesitations with some of the business ventures.
He has, but he is one of those few attorneys that are also entrepreneurs. He's been involved in several companies. He's represented owners of public companies, traded on the Amex and the NASDAQ. He has been involved in multiple projects. Get Me Mirrors, he started GetMe.com, which was a competitor to Uber and to whatever the other one is, Lyft. And he was the first one about 10 to 12 years ago to start Get Me Something or Somewhere before they even did Uber Eats or anything else. And they literally blew Uber and Lyft out of Austin, signed up 4,000 drivers. They were killing it. So He did that.
He was an entrepreneur
He was
as
an
well.
entrepreneur as well. He was the CEO of the
And
company.
so when you guys had some risks, were you normally the one, or he the one that would apologize?
I take all the risks. I push the envelope to the very edge, and he walks me down off of the edge. And he has a number of times told me that my ideas were crazy, and I didn't do them because he is like that conservative,
This
laid
side.
back
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
He's type B, I'm type A, but he is the one that brought Acid Entities to me and
yeah.
said, what do you think about these four brothers? What do you think about what they've created? Now they have over 200,000 members on their stock Discord,
yeah.
over 60,000 or 50,000 on their crypto Discord, and over
61,000.
So you're talking about over
On the real estate.
300,000 on all three.
Yeah.
Fortnite has 800,000
Yeah.
members.
Yeah.
There's 7 million Discord servers. They're probably going to double that. They're probably going to go public. When that happens, it's going to be like another
Platform,
internet.
literally
It's
another
gonna be
platform.
internet.
Yeah.
It's going to be another, Twitter. It's going to be another. It's going to be huge. It's already huge because it's the most consistent platform you can be on. But being like in that top 20 of the top membership in Discord for a 21-year-old, a 24-year-old,
Yeah.
Armand's 23, she is the CEO, he's 25, for them to have brought it to this point when I see NFTs and other Discords that can't even get 2,000 to 3,000 members.
Yeah.
It's kind of staggering, and everybody thinks the real estate Discord is going to be the biggest one of all.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 3 months into this. They've been doing that since right before COVID.
Yeah. All right. Well.
That's why when you find guys like you and, we were able to bring you on with your social media influence, it just made it bigger. And it will continue to.
And I like that, how like Kyle sought out people that were specialists or in their specific field. Like I don't take time to talk about, and there's times where people are on the call and they'll ask me questions like, bro, I don't really do that. Like I can't. And everyone seems to stick on that on the team too. Like I've heard Reed and Adam say the same thing. Like I don't really do that. I don't know too much, but what's nice is like we all have someone we can reach out to figure out pretty quickly what the answer to that is.
And I mean, the bottom line is, I think they would say the same thing that we all say is, it's not going to happen this week, next month. It's going to take a couple months. Brooklyn made $18,000 on her first deal. She lives in Dallas. She knows the market well. She was sending me DMs today on properties for me to look at value-wise. These guys were some of the first members, so the first 25 have an opportunity to interact with us one-on-one whenever they want to. We don't get, we don't get paid.
They didn't pay us, for
We don't
this
get
at
paid
all.
anything, quite honestly. Everything that we've done, we put back into the community right now. We think that when we're up to 250,000 to 500,000 members from all over, we have people from Finland, a guy that's doing research for me in Finland.
Croatia, there's a guy trying to sell me. Yeah.
Ultra Bars is from Turkey. He's one of our junior moderators. Amir's in there all the time.
Washington, Dallas, Florida.
When we
Pennsylvania.
when we get this group, and we have all these investors that are just watching for tickets to be created for your wholesale deal, and boom, they see a ticket, boom, your deal's sold. We don't even have to talk about doing it because it's being done. It already has been done. It's about to be done. It's about to be done twice with these guys. It's a tank of gas. If you've got a truck for $60, you can cancel after the first month. Just get on the calls, look at the video content, look at the education videos.
Hours. There's hours of content that we've
be
set.
on those voice calls that we spend our time out of our day to give.
Because you can ask questions live.
Ask
It's all right
questions.
there.
We had an AMA chat today with Keaton. You could have gotten on there and asked every question you needed to and taken notes. All you have to do is be a wholesaler.
AMA is Ask Me Anything, just
Ask
for,
Me
yeah. I literally learned that like 2 months ago. AMA.
But,
All right,
But the main reason that we came up here, obviously, was to see what these guys are doing, because it's not about 1 or 2 deals. It's about, the summer of next year when they've got, I call them tombstones, because that's what they call them in the real estate business. They've got 12 tombstones. On every one of those tombstones is a deal that they basically killed. That's what we call it in the real estate finance.
I like it.
When you finance,
I really like that. I've never heard that.
you close a loan, when you close a big property, you have what's called a tombstone. Google it. That's what it's called. That's what all the big guys use, all the investment.
All right. Well,
So we hope to see these guys with a lot. And I've visited, several of our members already. I visited Sydney and Newark and Staten Island. I've worked with Dana on her Airbnbs. It's just a great opportunity. And you can do it if you have a 9-to-5 job. So,
before we wrap up, because I know we're wrapping up, and I'm putting you guys on spot, I'm going to give Tommy time. So I want, like, your favorite, just quote in general, and then what you do to decompress when you stress. And that's how we're going to wrap up today's episode. So your favorite life quote, whatever that is, and favorite life quote, and what you do to decompress.
I guess my favorite quote is Jim Carrey. He talks about how his dad, went the safe option because he wanted to have food for his family, and he got a job as an accountant. 3-4 months later, he got laid off from that job, and he didn't know what to do. So it was basically you can risk you can risk it and do what you don't want to do. There's still risk involved, or you can risk trying to do what you actually want to do.
I really like that. Okay, and what do you do to decompose?
Or it's like decompress. Or
Decompress, decompose. Yeah. Sorry, I said the wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Sorry.
Decompress. No, you're right. You're right.
I think we later.
I usually go to the gym. It just like I listen to music, get a clear head. I still think about real estate there 24/7. It doesn't shut off. But to decompress and help, definitely the gym. Takes anger out too.
All right, you're up, bro.
I'd have to say my favorite quote has got to be the one by Sylvester Stallone. I'm sure everyone knows it. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and get back up.
And keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love that.
Just keep taking it and roll with the punches. It'll all come back someday. And then to decompress, I'd have to say number 1 would be driving. And
With like the music on, windows down.
that's actually before all this real estate thing. I got into flipping cars, and I kind of liked it a little bit too much because I got to put myself in cars that a 21-year-old should not be able to drive. So I got out of it just because I had too much fun with it. So now we transitioned into real estate, and everything's bigger and everything's better. I'm just waiting on the cars.
There we go. I like that.
He'll definitely have a couple cars.
All right, boss man, you're up. Let's hear it. Favorite quote and what you do to when you're stressed out and overwhelmed with all the millions of dollars of stuff you handle.
The favorite quote is my quote, which is, experience is truly the one and only teacher in life.
All right.
There are no teachers other than experience, because you have to experience the good and the bad before you learn from those experiences. That's my quote.
That's very clean.
Experience is truly your one and only teacher. That's my quote, and it is my quote trademarked by T.milton.
All right.
On the other side of things, I have a problem decompressing. I think when I decompress when I decide to do 2 things at once instead of 4. That's what helps me relax. When I trim it down to just doing 2 things at a time. That's playing poker while I'm streaming, Riverdale, which is my latest, or, whatever show I'm streaming, instead of working on a spreadsheet, playing poker, doing a phone call and streaming. So if I can take the 4 multitaskers down to 2, that allows
That's
me
a
to
good.
decompress.
That allows you to decompress a
It
little
does.
bit.
It
Allows
does.
you a bit. All right, I guess my favorite quote would be. I'm gonna take yours on this. I made this up too. I think it's fine. All right, I don't know you said it.
Can I do?
Yeah.
Trademark.
Yeah,
Brother?
we'll trade it. Yeah. Actually, if you could play it, okay.
You can get free online right now.
All right,
No,
you
seriously, just go on the national. Yeah,
and you can trademark the
we
quote.
go free right now.
Okay, all right. Let's clear the audio. Let's clear the audio.
I mean, should we tell them this?
Well, I was about to say it. I was really.
He trademarks it before.
Well, I'm saying it now on live. Yeah. What day? What
Yeah,
what
but-
day is today? What today is today? What's today's date?
If you say it online and somebody tries to copy it nowadays, it's yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a song.
You can make a case.
Say it. Say it.
Okay. But what is the date and time?
August 15th, 8:18 p.m.
August 18th, 8:18. Yeah, I like that. Central Standard Time.
Got 45 minutes to go.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Boys,
Come on. I need to go eat.
you'd never take advice on flying a plane from someone who's ever driven a car. You'd never take advice on someone who's only ever fuck, now I messed this up.
Try it again.
You'd never take advice on flying a plane from someone who's only ever driven a car.
I like that.
And so the reason why I don't take advice, like financial advice from I don't take financial advice from people aren't in a position that I aspire to be in, because literally their advice is invalid, because they're literally not in a position. That's why I take advice from him. And I wouldn't take it without you though.
Now, what do you do to decompress?
I travel. I like to
are a
just
traveler.
disappear. And in 9 days, I am leaving for Thailand.
Wow.
So Singapore, Malaysia. Most of my time we spent in Thailand, and then Vietnam and Cambodia.
Nice. Hitting the Vietnam.
Yeah.
tour, right?
So, well, again, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys joining me. I can't say it enough today. Just spending the whole day with all of you has been amazing, and I can't wait till we're off the cameras and we get to make more, memories. So, thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
Boom.
Thanks a lot.
Boom.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Boom.
Thank you.